On this video, I would like to continue what I have started in chapter 17 of the book of Revelation. We have worked our way up to looking at the great harlot, which is the Roman Empire, and all the horrible violence that she had perpetrated against believers, against Christians. And then we saw in the end of verse 6 and following, I marveled when I saw her with a great marveling. The angel then said to me, why do you marvel? I will tell you the mystery of the woman and of the beast who bears her, who is having the 7 heads and 10 horns. We have looked at this briefly, just a way of review. A pen is from Lego, aorist indicative active, third person singular. So the angel said to me, why do you ethaumasas? Why do you marvel? This is from thaumazo, to marvel. It is the aorist indicative active, first person singular, from thaumazo. So why do you marvel? I will tell you. Ero is your future indicative active, first person singular again, from Lego. I will tell you the mystery of the woman and of the beast who bears her. Bastadzo is the root, present active participle, genitive singular from bastadzo, who bears her, who is having another present uh, participle, genitive masculine singular from echo, the one who is having the 7 heads and the 10 horns. So he's going to explain what he has seen. Ta therion ha edes ein, the beast which you saw was. Ein is your imperfect indicative active, third person singular from eimi, and is not kai uk estin. Estin is your present indicative active, third person singular from eimi, and is about, mele anabainen, is about to ascend out of the abyss. Mele is your present indicative active, third person singular from melo. Anabainen is your present active infinitive from anabino. So the beast is about to ascend out of the abyss and go into perdition or destruction. Hupage again is your present indicative active, third person singular from hupago. And those that dwell upon the earth shall be caused to marvel. Thaumaste santai is your future indicative passive, third person plural from thaumazo. And the earth dwellers, katoi kuntes, is from katoi keo. It's your present participle active nominative masculine plural from katoi keo. So those who dwell upon the earth shall marvel, whose name has not been written. Gegraptai is from grapho, your future or your perfect indicative passive, third person plural, whose name, third person singular from grapho, whose name has not been written in the book of the life, or in the book of life, from the foundation of the world. Citizens of a place would have their names written. And I think the thought here is these are those who have not had their names written in the Lamb's Book of Life from eternity. So who see the beast that was and is not and shall be. Bleponton is from blepo. It's your present active participle, genitive masculine plural from blepo, who see the beast that was and is not and shall be. Parestai is future indicative active third person singular from paremi and shall be. Here is the mind of the one who is having wisdom. So now he's going to define what he is seeing, what John is seeing. An ekon is your present active participle nominative masculine singular from echo. Hai hepta kaphalai hepta ore esin. The 7 heads are 7 mountains. And this would remind us of the 7 hills surrounding Rome. So we're talking about the Roman Empire. The 7 heads then are 7 mountains, Hapu he gune kathetai ep auton, where the woman sits upon them. Kathetai is your present indicative middle, third person singular from kathemai. The woman sits upon them, and the 7 kings, in other words, they represent 7 kings. Hoi penta epison, 5 have fallen. Epison is from pipto. It is the aorist indicative active, third person plural from pipto. Ha ace, estin, the one is. Estin is your present indicative active, third person singular again. From Amy, ha alas upo eothen, and the other has not yet come. Eothen is from erkamai, the aorist indicative active, third person singular. And whenever it comes, elthe is again from erkamai. It's the aorist subjunctive active, third person singular from erkamai. Whenever it should come, it basically, that is, whenever this happens, it is necessary to remain for it to remain for a little while. Menai is your aorist active infinitive from meno, to remain. So he's talking about 5 have fallen, 1 is, and 1 is not yet come. And whenever it comes, it is necessary for it to remain for a little while. Now, again, we're looking at what appears to be something future from John's prophetic word, looking at something in the future in the Roman Empire. And the Roman Empire, can we say, can be a type of the world empire, of the world itself that Rome represented. That's at least one interpretation. Kaita, that is Kaita therion, ha'ain kaiuk estin, that is the beast which was and is not. Ain is your imperfect indicative active third person singular from Amy, and estin is your present active indicative third person singular from Amy. So the imperfect shows the one who was and yet is not. Even he is the 8th. Altas hagdaas estin. So we have an 8th coming, kai ekton hepta estin, who is out of the 7, kai eis apaleon hupage, and he goes into destruction. So John, many feel, is looking at a futuristic kind of a kingdom that comes at the end of time from the Roman Empire. If the Roman Empire can represent the ongoingness of the world system, this would be a coming empire that is also of the seven and yet is different. So is called the eighth. Kai ta deka kerata ha edes deka basiles esin. And the 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings. Edes is your aorist indicative active second person singular from parao. So the horns which you saw represent 10 kings, hoitenes basilean upo elavan, who have not yet received the kingdom. So they hadn't received the kingdom when John is writing this, John is saying. Elaban is from lambano, aorist indicative active third person plural from lambano. Allah exousian hos basiles mian hora lambanusin meta tu theriu. But they receive, I should say, authority as kings 1 hour with the beast. Lambanusin is from lambano, present indicative active third persons plural from lambano. So they receive authority as kings 1 hour, that is, for a limited period of time in the future with the beast. Now, it's interesting, there's quite a debate as to what these future kings represent. Some take it as European nations, the 10 kind of nations. Others take it as simply a summary of the final kind of anti-Christian system without being specific that will develop. Now, John goes on, hutoi mian genomen ekusin. These have one mind. They have one consent. Kai tain dunamin kai exousian auton to therio didaasin. That is, and they have one mind and power and authority, their power and authority, they give to the beast, or they will give to the beast. These are what appear to be a future kind of a kingdom out of the Roman Empire that will give their authority to the beast representing the Roman Empire, which could represent the world system as a whole. Hutoi meta tu arniu palemesusin kai ta arnian nekese autus. These with the Lamb shall make war. Palemesusin is from palemeo, future indicative active third person plural. They shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall conquer them. Arnian nekese is your future indicative active third person singular from nikao, shall conquer them, because hati kurios kurion estin, because he is Lord of Lords, kai basilus basileon, and King of Kings. Here we're looking at Christ. John is looking at Christ, and he wants the readers and he wants us to know that he is Lord of Lords and King of Kings. Kai hoi met autu kletoi, kai ek lektoi, kai pistoi. Lord of Lords and King of Kings, and these, and they, and the elect, I should say, or the called with him, and the elect and the faithful. In other words, this final kingdom, we might say anti-Christian kingdom, will hate the Lamb and make war with him. And because he is Lord of Lords, though, he will conquer them. And those with him will be victorious, the called, the elect, and the faithful. And of course, John is encouraging the readers of his time who were undergoing persecution from the Roman Empire and applying it, really, we could say, to all time and throughout history as a whole until the final wrap up. And then we are told, verse 15, Kai lege moi ta hurata ha edes hu he porne kathetai laoi kai akloi esin kai ethne kai glosai. And he says to me, and he said to me, or he says to me, the waters which you saw where the harlot is sitting are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. In other words, we're looking really at the whole world, so to speak, and the waters then, where the harlot is setting, where the Roman Empire is setting, represents the whole world. And that was true, in a sense, in John's day, and is true all through time, if one understands the Roman Empire as the world system. And so he goes on and says, the 10 horns, kaitadeka teratacha edes, the 10 horns which you saw. Edes, again, is your aorist indicative active second person singular from harao, the 10 horns which you saw. And the beast, therian, hutoi, mesesusin, tain, portanen. These shall hate the harlot. So in other words, the future anti-Christian system, if we follow that idea, will hate the harlot, that is the Roman Empire and what it represents, the world system, we could say. These shall hate the harlot, and ere momenen poiesusin aute. They shall make her desolate. And here we have poiesusin is your future indicative active, third person plural from poieo. And then we have before that a perfect passive participle. They shall make her, having been made desolate, from eremao. And so they shall make her desolate and naked, kai gunen, kai tasarkas autes fagantai, and they shall eat her flesh. And notice, fagantai is from estheo, future indicative middle, third person plural. They shall devour her flesh and shall burn her with fire. Katai kaususin is your future indicative active third person plural from katai kaio or katai kao. They shall burn her with fire. So as we look into the future, we're looking at how they're going to completely destroy the Roman Empire that was in the past. That is this final form of the Roman Empire. And furthermore, after they do that, the text goes on to say, Ha gartas edoken estas cardias auton, poiesai ten genomen autou. That is, and for God gave unto their hearts or their minds. Edoken is your aorist indicative active third person singular from didomi, unto their minds or their hearts, to make with her one consent. Poiesai is your aorist indicative or aorist infinitive active from poieo, to do with one consent, and to make with one consent, to do. Poiesai is another aorist indicative active from poieo, and to give her kingdom to the beast. Dunai is your aorist active infinitive from didomi, to give her kingdom to the beast until the words of God shall be completed. Telesteisantai is your future indicative passive third person plural from teleo. So in other words, the thought seems to be that this final anti-Christian system will have one mind to destroy everything that preceded it in the Roman Empire, if the Roman Empire represents the world system. And this final form will hate the previous and give all of its authority to the final anti-Christian system, to the final beast, until the words of God shall be completed. And that is going to happen someday. We don't know when. John doesn't tell us that. Kaihegune, and the woman, Ein Ades Estin, or Chain Ades Estin. The woman which you saw is the great city. He Palis he Megale, he Ekusa Basileon. The woman which you saw is the great city which comes down, or which is having a kingdom over the king over the kings of the earth. He Ekusa is your present participle nominative feminine singular from echo. So we're looking at the Roman Empire then, which has authority over the kings of the earth. And John seems to be defining her final demise, in which there'll be a final kingdom, it looks like, that will come and overthrow what the Roman Empire was, looking into the eschatological future, and will be the final anti-Christian system and the wrap-up. And ultimately, they will go against Christ and his kingdom, but they will fail. And Christ will be victorious, and those who are faithful with him, for he is the King of Kings and Lord of Lords.